Jason, this week, as it is every week, Lee Summit Town Hall is brought to the people by Budget Blinds of Lee Summit.
Budget Blinds!
Hey, Jason, are you feeling crafty?
I gotta admit, I am like the least crafty person. Like, at least pretty crafty. Like, I can make some stuff, but it's always functional. It's never pretty. So, I gotta say, though, I was inspired. So, the wife and the fam did this project, like art project. They painted we made some birdhouses. See, I made very functional birdhouses. They make them pretty. This is how the system goes. They made some beautiful birdhouses. I was kind of inspired by that.
Well, now you can take your inspiration this coming May 24th to Budget Blinds of Lee Summit, right in downtown Lee Summit. Take that inspiration. A Pillows and Pinot party. You, Jason, and everybody else who wants to, can make some specially custom-designed pillows.
Custom-designed pillows. So if you are inspired, you have a piece in your house, a piece of furniture, the paint in a room, an art piece, whatever it is, bring that inspiration with you.
A picture of your birdhouses.
A picture of my birdhouses. You bring that inspiration in. You pay your $50 for your ticket. You get a $100 value pillow plus wine. And then you're going to come out of there with that pillow that's going to be created based on that inspiration piece. And it's going to be the perfect little accent for your painting on your wall. You can put the pillow on the couch. It's going to be very nice.
So find your inspiration and then go get your tickets. You can get your tickets at link2leesummit.com. Click on the Pillows and Pinot ad. It'll take you right there. Buy your tickets. Come on out. Have a good time at Budget and Blinds Pillows and Pinot event right in the heart of downtown. Tell them Jason and Nick sent you. Hey, it's May. It's spring. School is drawing to a close. Well, if you're a senior.
If you are a senior, school is drawing to a close in May. If you're not, you might have to wait till June.
Yeah. Hey, but speaking of those seniors, Jason, it's time to start planning graduation parties. And there's a great spot right in downtown to have those graduation parties. It happens to be right here. Right here.
Where we are sitting.
Bridge Space in downtown Lee Summit.
Though I'm going to admit, I'm not going to let you kids come in my podcast studio. I'm going to have to go in the public area.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to be, because we got to get grumpy old men in the podcast studio. Kids these days. So it's got, Bridge Space has really cool packages. They're going to host your graduate party. They can adjust the ins and outs of the party to fit the budget that you want to put together.
You can bring your own food. You can have a caterer.
You can have a caterer in. So you need to hurry up. You need to call Bridge Space so you can book. Space is limited. Or you can go to http:/bridgespace.us/graduation.
Or just call Amber, 816-548-0811.
Honestly, if you're going to try to get anything done in Bridge Space, you should probably call Amber.
Call Amber. Tell them Jason and Nick sent you.
Hello again, and welcome to Lee Summit Town Hall, a weekly podcast about what you can do to make a difference. I am Jason Norbury, and as always, I'm joined by a man who thinks this show will come out on April 31st. It's Nick Parker, the publisher of Link to Lee Summit.
You've been giving me a little grief about that file name error.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I got to tell you, not even close to the worst error I've made. And I'm going to say this, not even close to the worst date error I've made in my media career.
Well, that's fair enough, but I'm saying, technically, I guess you could call it April 31st. Most of us are going to call the day this podcast comes out May 1st.
Maybe it's belated April Fool's joke.
Woo!
Maybe it's just the ill effects.
Or maybe
I'm coming back from the DL here. All right, I didn't have a rehab start in the minors.
I think you were on target when you started with fool. Podcast by fools, for you the people. Link to Lee Summit is the source for all the news you need about this very fine city, and our unofficial sponsor today are sports, which in my world are currently bad. The Royals are bad. My soccer teams are injured and bad. It's just not great right now. It's not great. I'm not enjoying the sports.
You know what? They'll come back around.
It's true. Sporting will go on a hot streak. The Royals will get after it, and then sports will be good again. That's the one thing. Sports can be bad on Tuesday and good on Wednesday.
That's why we watch. Hey, Jason, what's coming up this week?
Oh, there's all sorts of stuff. Do we want to talk about the thing for you that you are pimping, or do we want to talk about the thing that somebody that's for the rest of the community?
Well, they're all for the community.
They're all for the community. All right, coming up on Monday, May 20th, at 7:30 p.m., there will be a showing of Suicide: The Ripple Effect at the B&B Theaters, Lee Summit 16, that's on Douglas Street. This documentary features Kevin Hines, who survived to jump off the Golden Gate Bridge. Lee Summit Cares is purchasing a limited number of tickets for the event at $14 each. So give Lee Summit Cares an email if you would like a complimentary ticket.
Or you can hit them up on their Facebook page. Speaking of Lee Summit Cares, Jason, there's another thing going on. Lee Summit Cares and Rediscover have been sponsoring a community task force on youth mental health and wellness and suicide prevention that's been going on a little over a year now. One of the things that's come out of this is as we talk to different youth, the youth have come to me and they've said, hey, we'd like to have our own show. We want to do a podcast.
Kids these days.
I know. They want to do a podcast. They want to decide what they're talking about. They want to host it. They want to get their own people to interview. They want to create kind of a place where they can talk about themselves and their issues for people just like them and their age group. So they are looking for more youth like them. So May 13th from 5:30 to 6:30 here at Bridge Space in downtown Lee Summit. We're just going to have a little informational meeting. We're going to talk a little bit about it, get some ideas. So if you are a youth and you're interested, or if you're listening, which probably, I don't think many youth listen to us, Jason.
No, and honestly, I was totally stunned that youth would be interested in podcasting. Since old dudes like us do it, I figured it'd be so not cool.
No.
They wouldn't want to do it. Like we've chased them off Facebook and other places, but they're coming to podcasting anyway.
It's the only thing I do that puts me anywhere in the vicinity of cool. And really, I'm not.
At least you have that one thing.
Right. So if you're a listener and you have some teens that might be interested in this, let them know. 5:30 to 6:30 on Monday, May 13th here at Bridge Space, an informational meeting about a youth podcast.
All right. So there's not a ton of stuff like actively happening this week in the Lee Summit sphere of stuff that's going on. No council this week. Additionally, I don't know, just as a check-in, a couple of weeks ago we mentioned that the Rules Committee was having some conversations at the City Council about adjusting their procedural rules away from Robert's Rules of Order. And we thought, we'll just follow that every month and see what happens. But as it turns out, there will not be a Rules Committee meeting in May, so we're going to have to wait a little bit longer. They're going to keep you in suspense.
As the council turns. Well, Jason, let's shift gears a little bit. We are going to, instead of talking about the city council and city government, we're going to talk a little bit more about things going on around the Lee Summit R7 school district. And part of this is kind of a commitment that you and I are making.
Does this mean we have to have follow-through?
Well, this means we have to have follow-through, Jason. I think we've said it before that oftentimes things that happen at the school level get overshadowed. It's kind of the second tier of issues that we talk about as a community, and that's understandable. We talk about it a lot during election cycles when there's other things going on. School board elections don't always get the attention or that they deserve. Now, it was different this time because that was the only thing on the ballot. But so we're going to make a commitment here to do a better job of following what's going on with the school district and the school board. And so we're going to be hitting different things over the course of the next few months, and then probably at least once a month as the next school year gets into action. One of the things we want to talk about right now is the equity plan that was adopted several months ago, and part of that was, Jason, to bring in a consultant to further develop what the plan will be. Right.
And so the RFP went out, responses came back. There's a committee that has been put together that's reviewing those. Our sources tell us that the interviews are ongoing this week. I just wanted to say our sources because that sounded like we were like real news people for a second. But
I am.
Well, you were. And all right, we got you. So, their interview is going on this week. They should have a recommendation to the superintendent and his executive committee, and then that recommendation will be put forth to the board, we anticipate, at the school board meeting on May 16th. So that's a thing that is actively happening. People should pay attention, get a little information about the recommended candidate, and we're going to work to try to get some information about them and hopefully get them in at some point to talk about what their plans are for the implementation of the equity plan.
And now to the fun part of all this, Jason, or at least where you and I really like to kind of we get a little excited about this stuff.
Yeah.
About people getting involved in the processes. So, Jason, there have over the last 6, 7, 8 months been some different groups around town that have kind of sprouted up and started having, I don't know, offshoot conversations that deal with the equity plan and things. And it's interesting to see how other people bring the other perspectives that come up in that. And so you and I want to start talking to some of this. We put out some invitations to invite them on the show later during the course of this summer.
And let's be clear, if you are listening to this show and you are involved in one of those conversations, reach out to us and let us know so that we can have you on. We want to hear, I think, especially at this early stage, while the district is kind of doing some of its work, and a lot of that's going to be behind the scenes where it's not going to be out there like in the public at the school board meeting. We want to hear from the groups that are on the ground, right? The grassroots groups, some of these groups that are out there, and get their story and their approach on how they see equity and the issues that surround that addressed in the schools and what have you. And they all come at it in different ways and in different places and what have you. And it'll be interesting to see how they go into that. We do have one happening as we publish on Wednesday. It'll be happening Wednesday night at the New Springs Community Church. A group of citizens are going to get together and begin talking about how to address some of the achievement gaps and other issues surrounding those things here in the district.
Right, and that brings me, Jason, to the point that we like to bring as we get into this, and that's how we talk about it and how we approach these things. And I think we're at a point now, Jason, where I think everybody is kind of on the same page that there are some gaps. There are some achievement gaps in the district. And now people are coming together to define kind of what those gaps are and what are some solutions to closing those gaps. And I think it is important that as we start talking in these groups, as we start going up to the board meetings during public comments, as we log on to social media, maybe if you come on a local podcast and you talk, think about the language that we're using and how you're phrasing your topics.
Right. And when we have done this over the time, we started with the conversation about how city council is conducting its business, right? And we worked through a lot of the things. We've touched on the school board and the way they discuss issues, and honestly, sometimes the way they don't discuss issues, especially at the board and the public meeting level. We want to make sure that we hold these conversations to a similar standard, not the same standard, because none of these people who are participating, these are community members, not elected officials, not professional administrators and those sorts of things. But to maintain that product, the place where a conversation can be productive and actually people can listen to one another.
Well, I think it's important to note that we're at a place now, Jason, where as I said just a couple minutes ago, we're at a place now where I think everybody is in agreement on what the problem is, on that there is a problem. And the worst thing we can do now is allow some maybe willful use of out of context language to push us off of a path that can get to real solutions. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, if we want to draw back, some of the language that was used during the wage negotiation process that led up to the 2018 city council elections and that whole budgeting process and when do we give raises and what have you, some of the hyperbolic language and the somewhat misleading language that was used is stuff we would like to avoid in this. And some of the issues that we're going to be talking around and on in this conversation, in this equity conversation, are way, way more sensitive than the beginning and middle tier salaries of public safety officials or public safety officers. And that's not that it's not important, but when we're talking about achievement gaps in certain subsections and subpopulations of our community, that is really, really sensitive stuff. And we need to be on our game to make sure that we don't lose ourselves in fraught language or discriminatory language or whatever the case may be, so that we can continue to do that stuff when we're in this conversation, because we have come to a place where we agree that it's time to work on this and to talk about this, but yet we haven't all agreed on all the bases yet. And if we let ourselves get derailed in one direction or another, we'll never get to the actual stuff with solutions.
Right. I think we all need to know things are going to get a little uncomfortable.
Woo!
Well, look, these are personal issues. Whether you're talking about economic status, whether you're talking about race, even whether you're talking about marital status for your parents, all of these things are personal. And so I think it's important that we allow for other people's perspectives in our conversations, and we take a breath, and we don't get overly defensive on things.
Yeah, and I think we also need to be careful when we are saying things, to be aware of the impact of our voices in the conversation. Who you are and where you come from carries carries weight in different places in different ways, and it can be that same thing. So it's both sides of that deal. You have to listen well, but you also have to speak well.
Don't always try to win.
Don't always. Well, then I quit if I can't win. I'm not.
You're
in a place.
You're an attorney.
Yeah,
nobody likes you anyway.
Nobody likes that. That's all right thing. So
really, and that's really it. We don't need to go in too much. I think I'm excited that there are several different groups of our population that are getting together and wanting to have people work together to find solutions to make our district, which is awesome, even better for everyone. So this is a good thing. I think we are set up to do some even better things as a community. We just want to I think just maybe set a standard for all of us. Jason, you and I are making this commitment. We're going to keep following these. We're going to try to talk to a lot of people from these different groups. We're going to keep talking to the school district and to school board members, and we will touch on this probably at least once a month throughout this process.
Absolutely. I think that's and it'll give us a well-deserved break from the city council at least once a month, which is a nice thing for all of us.
That's true.
Look, this soap opera cannot be on every week. We got to do some different stuff. Well, that is going to wrap it up for this week. We will be back on Friday with a Friday conversation. My stint on the disabled list is over, and we're back. We'll talk to everybody on Friday. Jason, let's talk about the last great sponsor of this week's show, Shred KC. Shred KC.
Are you ready for this one? Are you ready for this news?
Okay.
212.
That is amazing. And now you weigh less than me, and I feel bad.
No. Well, you should actually feel bad. I am feeling awesome. And here's the best thing. There's a number, my own personal weight Mendoza line, right?
Which is actually the Mendoza line, by the way.
Well, yes, but not everybody understands that, I
guess.
That's
okay, but hey, we're nothing. We are obscure references.
I'm about to hit that, and that has been my goal for a long time, kind of in the, I'll never really hit that. I can see 200. That is in sight. I've got that goal. I'm going to hit it. And
it's like fresh inspiration.
It is. Do you know the people who have helped me get there?
Mm-hmm.
Shred KC.
Shred KC. How are the workouts going now? Are you regaining more use of your bum wing?
I had a little setback. Not gonna lie, had a little setback. I tried to do too much with the arm, so I'm back to some light cardio work without using the arms.
Gotcha. That's okay. That's all right.
But here's the thing, guys. You want to make the change, whatever it is. For me, it was I hit a certain number on the scale, and it was like, I'm done. I gotta do something different. Whatever it is, I think we all hit a point where we decide we need to make a change. I hit that. I turned to the guys down at Shred KC. They've been incredibly supportive. They've helped me with a meal plan that's made a big difference. I love that they think nutrition first, that it's not just go start throwing some weights around. We got on a meal plan, started a workout plan. It's really helping. I feel great. And for the first time in my life, I'm having to buy new clothes because I'm getting smaller.
That is the backwards way from most of us adult male types. As we go through our lives, we don't have to buy new clothes because we're getting smaller. We have to buy new clothes because the clothes are getting smaller. That's how that works.
So if you're ready to make that change, you're ready to get started, go see the guys at Shred. Tell them Jason and Nick sent you. You have been listening to Lee Summit Town Hall, a Link to Lee Summit podcast with hosts Nick Parker and Jason Norberry. A proud member of the Fredcast Network, you can subscribe to this podcast on most of your favorite podcast apps and catch us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for all the news, analysis, and conversations on the Lee Summit community. Connect with us on Facebook at Link to Lee Summit or on Twitter at LS Town Hall.